I stay wise. I enhance my life. I stay strong. I stay wise. I'll enhance my life. I stay strong. I stay wise. I'll enhance my life. While we wait.
Hey, our Patrice Bryan here. I am your host of While We Wait. What an absolutely wonderful day it is. I am so happy to see the sunshine, able to go on the porch, walk down the street, and get some natural vitamin D added to my supplements. It's a great day. Thank you, viewers, for coming on. I'm grateful to all of you that will watch the replay. It's just a great day. I'm feeling good and ready to go. I'm excited about today's segment, the power of a woman, and I'm so happy that I don't have to look very far. I don't have to look to Hollywood or any amazing place by name to find someone who is absolutely incredible and someone that I want to put some shine on because she's doing some magnificent work. And that is Dr. Tiffany Renee Jackson. She is of my hometown, New Haven, and she's got a great story to tell and is doing some wonderful things. And I just want to expose her on my platform, and hopefully it will just travel even more. And this is very, very exciting. So today I have my co-host back, Michelle Perry, and you know how we get down. We've just got a lot to chat about. We are celebrating the National Women Histories Month. And all of these topics this month pretty much is in honor of Women's History Month. It is an amazing thing to be a woman. And you know what I say about, hi, Beth, so glad you're here. I say that women are one of God's amazing creations. We really, really are. We're stronger than we know. Even those of us that think we're weak, we're stronger than we know. So it takes a woman to do some magnificent things and even to assist a man with being his best and great self. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. You know it. All right, let's bring Michelle on. Hey, Michelle.
Hello, everybody in the While We Wait audience. It's such an honor to be back. I love cutting up here. And today, I am so excited about today's guest. I can't wait to bring her on and hear more about her because she's new to me. I know that you have history with her, but she's new to me. But the little bit I know, I'm excited to help with the shine. So
yeah, she is on fire. So guys, let me, before we get into the knit of things, how about we hear a word from my sponsors? Sounds like a plan, right, Michelle?
I just love the way that sounds. And if you want to be a sponsor, please let our Patrice know. She will hook you up with the info.
We'll make it happen. So let's hear from our first sponsor today. So that video was Events by Me, Making Memories, Events and Design. And the contact person is Ms. Monica Hewitt, because love is not canceled. So if you have found your significant other, your life partner, the one you want to be with for the rest of your life, you can contact Making Memories, Events and Designs, Ms. Monica Hewitt. She has an Instagram and Facebook presence. Events by MME, or you can go to her website, eventsbymme.com, She is from Coastal Carolina. However, you can contact her about her virtual package. She has a virtual package for you if you are interested. So what a wonderful way. And you can just look at the presentation that she lays out and tell that she is a person of excellence. And I've seen her work. She does great work. So again, the website is eventsbymme.com. Her name is Miss Monica Hewitt. So I hope if you are in love and ready to tie the knot and hook up, you can reach out to her and find out what she can do for you. I'm certain she can customize a plan for you. We're also excited. We are entering the Easter season, and if you're like my children who love to receive Easter baskets, adult Easter baskets, Miss Quanitra McCrae is selling and putting together adult Easter baskets. So I can see in here like Dove body washes and some soaps and Lysol and some other goodies in there. This particular package is $23. And this one is a $30 package. And you can ask her, you can talk to her about what you want to put in it. And this is the $35 package. So if you're interested in these Easter baskets, even if you're watching the replay, you can reach out to, you can contact Quanitra either on Facebook. Her Facebook name is Quan, that's Q-U-A-N. Last name is McCrae, M-C-C-R-A-Y. Her email address is quanitra3@yahoo.com. That's Q-U-A-N-I-T-R-A 3@yahoo.com. And you can ask her about customizing a basket for you with what you want in it. And she'll make that happen for you. And then lastly, not least, I showed this before, but Davina's Treats. This right here is a flower tower. I believe it's a strawberry flower tower. And I want this for my birthday. I've already told my children. This is absolutely beautiful. This is by Davina's Sweet Treats. All right. And her Easter, one of her Easter productions here, presentations. This is for Easter. And you can reach Davina either on Instagram or Facebook. Her Davina's, D-A-V-E-N-A''S. Davina's Sweet Treats. So if you want something that's different but beautiful and good, there you go. All right.
And good.
So,
It looks
and
good.
good. And good. And good. That's and good. It is actually as good as it is beautiful. So those are my sponsors for today, and I will work to go back and put this information on our page after the show. All right. So are we ready for this, Michelle?
I'm ready because you said it's good and looks good, and that describes the woman of the hour who I can't wait to get into her story. So yes, I think I'm ready. Audience, are you ready? Type a word in the comments if you are.
Yes, please do. All right. Right before I pull Ms. Dr. Diva, Necessary Diva, Tiffany Renee Jackson, I am going to show a short clip. Let's see if we can make this happen. Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. Please. Hold on a second. It's telling me to restart my computer. That's not happening. Hold on a sec.
Technology cooperates.
Please.
It is amazing the technology issues we inquire at the most opportune times.
Are you serious right now?
But that's all right. That's all right.
Bear with me. All right, so I don't have my wingman today, so this is all me.
But you know what? It's a great demonstration of how are you waiting for this amazing thing that we're about to watch and hear and meet. While we wait, we are in expectant excitement.
Okay, let's see if we can make this happen here. Okay. Oh, it's not going to do it. All right. All right. I hate it, but okay.
Well, maybe you can add it to the comments after.
Yeah, I'll put it on my page. That's what I'll do. Well, here we go. Here's the real deal. We're not going to see the video right now, but here's the real deal.
We got the real thing.
Hey,
Hey, Dr. Tiffany. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. As I forestated, Tiffany, I don't have to look far or wide across the sea to find someone that's doing amazing work. A gem and a jewel right up underneath our nose is what I say. So I'm so glad you're here, and I'm very grateful for the work that you're doing. I believe the more mature I get, and I keep saying this, I believe the more mature I get, my focuses are so different. I'm looking at what can I leave in the earth that will be beneficial, that will keep my name and my legacy alive. And it's not just your biological bloodline. It is all of those that will receive what you have to give out. So I see you doing great legacy work as well. So let's just get started. I did not ask for Dr. Tiffany. I didn't ask for her bio. This is one of my dearest sisters, so she knows. No disrespect if I don't use her label, because I don't have her use mine either. There you go. So I didn't ask for a bio because we won't get through everything, but just to give you a peek into Tiff's life. As I first stated, Tiffany is a native of New Haven, Church Street South to be exact. She has graduated from Manhattan School of Music, Yale University. She's done work at Carnegie Hall. She's an artiste, a performer, opera singer, bodybuilder. She is the producer and founder, writer of a one-woman show called From the Hood to the Ivy League. She does great work in the community. She started a nonprofit organization in 2019, Gift, Passion, Purpose, and Project. And that's just a few of the things that I know about Tiff, but I would just be reading on and on and on. So let's just get into it, Tiffany. First, tell us about, and I saw you doing some things with people going back to where Church Street South housing was. Tell us about your upbringing and what influenced you to do what you're doing now.
Yes. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. Our stories are our legacies. So I feel like I am right now doing mission work by sharing my story. So thank you.
You're welcome.
The platform. So I grew up in Church Street South housing projects, which is no longer there. It was demolished in 2018. And for people who may not know, it's the area located right across the street from the New Haven train station.
And let me say Connecticut, because everyone watching is not in Connecticut, and I failed to say New Haven, Connecticut, but New Haven, Connecticut.
New Haven, Connecticut, yes. And I grew up there. And we moved there in the 70s, and I stayed there until I finished my work at Yale University. So for about 20 years is where I lived. Mm-hmm. And I grew up during a time when hip hop was all the rage. The first commercial rap came out in 1979. I don't want to, date myself or age myself too much right now, but I was here when that Sugar Hill record came out in 1979. So Church Street South was all about culture back then, right? Hip hop, right? Was all about culture back then, right? Double Dutch and breakdancing and graffiti and fashion by Dapper Dan. The girls were just jumping double Dutch. I mean, it was a fabulous place to live until the 1980s with the infiltration of crack cocaine, right?
Sure. Yeah.
This was happening in areas all over the country. So in I want to say it was 1958, maybe a little earlier, when the Congress passed these sort of redevelopment laws so that in metropolitan areas, they could build affordable housing, right? And Church Street South was one of those experiments, so to say, right? And it was designed by a man who was the dean, former dean of the Yale School of Architecture.
Okay.
His name is Charles Moore, right? In 1969. his vision was to create a place for people of low to middle income to live where they could have all the amenities. You know, we had a laundromat, we had a nursery school, we had a community room. I mean, we had fountains and basketball courts and baseball courts, right?
Yes, I remember.
That's what I grew up in, right? Until the 80s. And like I said, then crack cocaine destroyed our neighborhood. And it's, when I think about it, it's devastating. But what I have been doing lately is I wanted to retell my own story, because so much of what is written about our neighborhoods is from a perspective of crime and, you know, and criminality, right? And I said, you know what? That was not my experience.
Right.
My friends are doing great things. Friends that grew up there in Church Street South, they have families and homes and they're professionals in their own right. So I decided to start a project called We Are Not the Bricks, hashtag.
Okay. Awesome.
We're not the bricks, we're the people. And so it's starting out in stages. The first thing I did was I sort of had to pull together a couple of folks from the hood, you know, who are now all adults doing great things. And we've had a radio interview, you know, with New Haven Independent. Also, we had an article printed in the New Haven Independent. So the first thing I wanted to do is like, let me tell a new story. Let me sing a new song. There's too much negativity connected to my neighborhood, right? So the next step would be to create either a written document, whether it's a book, to lead to a documentary, We Are Not the Bricks, to tell positive stories about Black life in the inner city. So that's what I'm doing now of late.
And that's great, Tiff. And I'm telling you why it's great, because my father-in-law, or well, he was my father-in-law. He's deceased now. He lived in Church Street South, and it was in the 80s that I would go see him. And I remember, so behind was, as you said, the train station, but also the police station, and the police wouldn't even come when something happened. So I do remember, and this had to be like 84, 85. I remember those situations.
I was finishing middle school around that time. That's when things were starting to get pretty bad. That's when I noticed the neighborhood shifting a bit, and it wasn't as clean. The neighborhood wasn't kept like it had been. Others are more sad because we're hearing about brothers being killed. Young girls are starting to live a life that they didn't intend, right? Many of them started to delve into survival techniques, right? And so with that, we have young girls who got pregnant super young, who didn't really have the support they needed. And it's a beautiful thing, but at the time, it was not, because the resources were not there. Right. So my connection to Church Street South will always be something that is really deeply set in my heart.
I understand.
Because for me, it represents community. You know, there were Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and white families and Black families and Jamaican families. It was very diverse. See, a lot of times when people think about the hood, they just think it's just all African Americans. They don't think about people within the diaspora, right, that are there. Right. It was very diverse. I mean, I would hear merengue and reggae and smell different foods.
in the air. You just want to go knock on somebody's door.
Beautiful life growing up there. Beautiful life. And I defend it anytime I hear people saying negative things about it, because I'm like, every neighborhood has its negative things. And the only difference is when you live in suburban areas, whatever is happening indoors.
I was just getting ready to say that, like, we don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. So where there's people, there are going to be issues and situations.
Right.
So understood.
In urban areas, we're outside, we're cooking out, we're having block parties, we like each other. So we come out and be with each other. So a lot of things played out outside, unfortunately.
True. Yeah. I get it.
One thing I love about what you're saying, Dr. Tiffany, is that you're disrupting the narrative and you are saying, no, we're going to talk about this from a different perspective that is going to highlight the strength and the positivity, not just what is considered to be negative, because sometimes challenges, we label it negative, but it's challenges. I'm wondering, as you're talking, how did you infuse this into your one-woman show? Like, talk to me about that.
Great show.
Oh my
That
goodness.
show was amazing.
That first act is all about that. So my one-woman show is in 3 acts: gift, passion, and purpose, which are the 3 organizing principles of my life, or the 3 pillars of my life, right? If it doesn't fit within my gift or my passion, my purpose, then I see it as extra and I try to like kick it out, right? So in gift, I talk about my mother's beginnings, and then I parlay into my discovery of music in the Black church, right? In my storefront church, and then discovering songs by Rodgers and Hart and Hammerstein at Neighborhood Music School in New Haven, Connecticut, right? Where I started to study classical traditions. And that's how I integrated. And then I moved from that to talking about hip hop. So there's a portion in the act, in Acts 1 in Gift, where I talk about the hip hop culture from about 1979 until about like 1989, before I went off to college. And there's some humor in there. There's some sadness, because there was a lot of hurt and death and trauma. So I figure if I'm going to depress people, I also got to make them laugh. So
I've got to have balance. Got to have balance.
Yeah, you got to have balance. So that's how I integrated. But in my show, it's multimedia. It's multidimensional. I have a 4-member jazz band. I'm using images and movement and dialogue. And I'm singing music from various genres. So it's hip hop, R&B, gospel, jazz, classical, because I can't tell my whole Black story by it just wouldn't work. Yeah, that's how I integrated it. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've done so much. Before we move on to your mentorship, or what the Gift, Passion, and Purpose project, let's talk about some of the things that you've done. Like, I remember, I don't know if I called you one time. I was working in Stanford, and I think I may have called you, and were you in Lithuania? I don't know.
Yeah, I was in Lithuania.
I'm like, wait, you know what? So you've done so much. Tiffany speaks several languages and just so well versed. I remember going to see her at a Christmas presentation in one of the churches on the Green, and and this was afterwards. We were in the vestibule, and someone walked up and she stopped talking to me and turned to them and started speaking in the fluent Italian. I was like, wait, what? So. Wow. like, okay. but tell us about some of your international travels and those opportunities and how that happened. How did you even come to that?
Well, it really helped having a mom to encourage me to always venture outside of my comfort zones, to venture outside of my own cultural perspectives. So my mother was okay with me going to Catholic school, even though I was like, Ma, I'm Pentecostal. Why am I going to this Catholic school? And my mother was like, listen, it won't hurt you to learn about a Catholic religion and Catholic.
Absolutely.
So my mother always encouraged me to be uncomfortable, never to be comfortable in a space, because it means I'm not growing. So I sang classical music and studied Italian arias and things like that when I was a teenager living in the hood. So earlier on, I started to see myself as someone who is not necessarily typical, or what people who tend to stereotype us would believe I could be. And I got a kick out of that. I got a kick out of people assuming things about me and they would always be wrong. I'm like, that's fun.
I get a kick out of it too. And I have to just interject right there. We went to, I think you had 1 ticket to a concert, and we went to Ridgefield, and we went to a restaurant, and it was, and so you see two African American women, and I don't know what you think, but they were like amazed, So I was like, okay, okay, we know how to act.
For those not in Connecticut, that's a hoity-toity city. Hoity-toity with the elitism spirit about it. I'm wondering how the two of you met, because clearly you were way back. How did y'all meet, and how did that relationship develop?
Oh my God.
I know I needed a vocal coach. Oh my God. So at the time, I know I had started speaking so much until it was affecting my singing voice, and I needed therapy. I didn't go to learn about opera and all of that other stuff. Right. I just wanted to be able to sing. But Tiff, I don't know how I found you. I don't remember.
I know it was over 20 years ago. I know that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was 20 plus years.
I think it was someone you worked with who either was taking lessons with me or had heard about me and recommended you to me. It was somebody that you worked with at your job.
Okay.
Didn't you used to work in New Haven, Connecticut, over on L.T. Grasso somewhere?
I did.
I think it was a colleague.
Okay.
This girl who teaches voice lessons.
I don't know, but all I know is we were like, it ended up being like this. Yeah. I went for therapy and fell in love with music all over again, and Tiffany. So, but yeah.
I love that, because it's a God connection. And Tiffany, you were talking about your mom sending you out of the ordinary and making you uncomfortable, which is often how God stretches us and causes us to grow into our destiny.
Absolutely.
And I love it. It's in purpose. And I'm so encouraged by that, because oftentimes when we're uncomfortable, we want to stop and we want to reject the gift when it's not in the package we want. So I just love your story, how you all met. I'm getting so inspired and encouraged just listening and watching y'all.
Yeah, I actually adore Rashida, because during the times when I was gigging, another thing that she would do, which she probably didn't want me to tell, but she would sow seeds into my life.
I remember.
Yeah, she would like, Tiff, what do you need? I'm like, girl, I'm in Germany. I'm broke, right? So she was always there. And then the thing about Rashida that I love so much is that when she's doing well, she wants everybody around her to do well. Not everybody is like that. She pulls people in, and then she will introduce you to her people. And then she will make sure you get paid and that you're not taken advantage of. So she sees you as a friend, but she also sees you as someone who is like more than that. And that's what I adore so much about her. I have been able to do master classes for her choirs over the years. I have been able to come in and talk on a myriad of things because she can co-sign for what I do. It's nice to have people like that in your life. And so throughout my journeys and travels, I've been to Lithuania, Germany, Slovenia, Macedonia, Norway, Africa, all these places because of my gift.
Yes.
The Bible says your gift will make room for you. So that's why that is my first pillar in my show. The second one is passion. And passion is something that I had to sort of ask God, like, what is that? Because I know I have that energy. And what I discovered is that passion is like energy, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm not passionate about music. I am music.
Yes.
Like, I'm not passionate about singing. I am a singer.
I am.
That's different. Passion is something you have to fuel. Otherwise, it's going to go bye-bye, right? So it's something you have to constantly keep molding. And so for me, that's health and fitness.
Yes.
Right?
Before you go there, because you mentioned Africa, tell us about your opportunity with going to Africa. It's a wonderful opportunity and story. How did that come about?
So in 2003, I went to South Africa with the Oprah show. I mean, that's just God with his hands on me all the time. I'm like, God, you got jokes, because I don't understand what is all this. But it was like hitting the lottery. My former high school teacher wrote a letter on my behalf. Literally just a letter, a handwritten letter with my publicity photo and I was picked. So Oprah was selecting 3 viewers to accompany her to South Africa. This was before she built her girls' school, to really bring attention to the orphan problem, because there were a lot of kids who were orphans due to the AIDS epidemic. So there were a lot of kids who were without parents. So she wanted to bring attention to that, but it was under the auspices of her book club. And that year they chose Cry the Beloved Country, which is a book written by a white South African named James Payton. Okay. And there's a musical adaptation called Lost in the Stars, right? Okay. So that connection of Cry the Beloved Country and Lost in the Stars all came together because I read the book in high school. I was teaching the book at the time at my former high school as a substitute, and my teacher decided to nominate me when she heard the announcement. Wow. And I was picked. So it was an all-expense trip to South Africa, 2 weeks, first class South African Airlines. Wow, they gave us a South African currency to spend. We went to Port Elizabeth, Johannesburg, Cape Town. But of all of the experiences I had, and this is God again showing off, because we had a lot of planned, activities. Excuse me. But meeting Nelson Mandela was not one of them. But like I said, God always got jokes. He always working. I was at the World AIDS Day with the 2 other viewers. And Oprah, she had rode over with us in this old white clunky van with Gail and the 2 other viewers and the driver, right? We get to the concert, and of course, Oprah went and sat in her, her seats next to Mandela and her friends. And the viewers were over to the side with security detail. And I had to go to the restroom. So everywhere I traveled, security detail, they were always there. So they were waiting outside the bathroom. On my way to the bathroom, guess who they were bringing to the stage? Nelson Mandela.
Wow.
I said, oh my goodness. And I talked about this in my one woman show. I ran over to that man and I was like, I didn't say, no.
You're Nelson. No.
What do you say? Like, really?
Yeah, I understand.
Say to Nelson Mandela, thank you. No, you just take it in. You take it in, you inhale, you remember. And that's what I did. And what I remember is his essence, his defiance, but the beauty of being incarcerated for 27 years on Robben's Island, where we went. We had to take, the ferry over, and we went into the actual jail cell where he stayed. And I'll never forget, there were these bars on the window. And when you look out the window, you'll see a whole bunch of big rocks and small rocks and tiny rocks. Apparently, the inmates would break rocks all day. That's what they did for labor. I have no idea what that was about, but that's what they did. So I saw this man, and then I thought about being in that jail cell for 20 minutes, and I wanted out. 27 years. 27. And so from that moment on, my life just completely changed. I said, Lord, I don't know what it is that you have for me to do in my life, but I know that Oprah gave us these journals. And on the first page of the journal, it's sort of an indirect quote from the book, Cry the Beloved Country, but she sort of integrated my name and some kind of message that she wanted to convey. She writes, Tiffany, you are going to love this beloved country beyond any singing of it.
Wow.
And I was like, what's beyond singing, Oprah?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
See, this was 2003, before I truly understood that my gift was not my passion nor my purpose, but my gift was to guide me and direct me towards passion and purpose. That it was that the gift is like It's like a path that God has out there for us to use the gift to help us to get into spaces that we would not ordinarily be allowed to occupy. I have occupied spaces as an opera singer, as a Black woman, that I would not have occupied as a Black woman. But as an opera singer, I was allowed to occupy those spaces. Mm-hmm. I didn't particularly think that it was so fantastic, right? Because it made me aware, of how disparaging this culture is. But I recognized that it was my path and where God needed me to be.
Sure.
So when I met Mandela, I started thinking about my gift as not being purpose. And I'm telling you, a weight just lifted off my shoulders. Because I always felt like if I'm not singing here by this time, if I'm not singing at the Met or wherever, then I'm not accomplished enough. Mm-hmm. And the Lord just let me know, like, darling, this gift thing that I've given you is what I have allowed you to use as currency to create space. Wow. And for that reason, you're here meeting Nelson Mandela because of the gift, not because of me. Yeah.
Wow. There was so much wisdom in what you just said. I am sitting here trying to process really fast because I know there's more coming. But, I mean, just wow. The fact that you were able to eloquently state such a profound concept, that you were in spaces as an opera singer, the label that you were not allowed to be in as a Black woman. That's who you are, but you're an opera singer, you're a Black woman, that you are you, but yet because of the label provided the entrance, and then God lifting the burden of the label of gift and you not having to walk in that burden, but then you opening the path to purpose. I'm gonna be sitting on this all night.
You just said something that I just learned from that. It's like he gives it to you, but then he redefines it or reshapes it or repurposes it. It's almost like using broccoli for a purpose. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to put my broccoli in this today. Tomorrow I'm going to put my broccoli in the pan and whip it up, right? It's still broccoli, but it's being used in a different perspective. But let me tell you something. That was hard because when your identity is built in that thing, you start to feel like, what's happening? And I know a lot of people around me were like, wait, Tiffany is doing what? She's bodybuilding? Like, that's not what she went to school for. What? She can't sing anymore? Like, I'm sure people were thinking all kinds of things. But let me tell you something that I learned during this pandemic. Because I have been obedient to God, this has been the most fruitful time for me. I know a lot of people feel the opposite. And I understand that. My heart goes out. But I feel like my life has been like endowed with more purpose during these.
We concur.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We concur. We concur. We're with you on that. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Give me one moment. I want to try again. I believe what may be happening is because I'm streaming on YouTube. It may not, but it just fits right here. I'm just going to see if I can make this happen one more time.
Okay.
But that may be the reason, because I am streaming on YouTube as well. But we will see. Let's just see if we can make this thing happen here. Let's see. Yeah, that's what it is. I apologize. That's okay. So what I will do definitely is I will share it on my While We Wait page, because it does give us a little more insight of other sides of you. So let's talk about the bodybuilding part. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention, but I'm going to find some pictures to post while you're talking. But tell us how, what, and why.
I know, right? How, what, and why?
How, what, and why?
Well, I did grow up in the family full of athletes. Like my brother always had a six pack. My brother was like always doing push-ups. I was always doing push-ups. Like he would pay me $5 to do 20 push-ups for his friends. So, I was hustling push-ups when I was younger. And my mother played softball. My brother was a baseball player. And we watched all kind of sports. So I grew up loving sport. Yeah,
that all right now.
That's 2010, Michelle.
Wow.
That's a real fit girl right there. Like that's discipline. Beyond.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And that's natural bodybuilding. So it ain't no funny business, no growth hormones. It's just all healthy eating for 6 straight months.
Discipline.
Total discipline. So
yes,
I got into bodybuilding. I'm going to tell you, in 2008, I believe, or 9, I had this epiphany. I was watching a rebroadcast of an opera, and I saw a couple of my friends in the production, and I was like, oh, wow. And I was just noticing how I was just, comfortably sitting on my mom's couch. And I'm like, oh my God, they're singing at the Met. And these are people I went to school with, I trained with. And I just was, sitting on mom's couch, happy, just fine, right? And then the opera was La Boheme. La Boheme is basically an opera about a bunch of bohemians somewhere in the faubourgs of Paris who are artists. They're poor, but they have each other and they have their art. By the end of the opera, one of their sidekicks, she dies of consumption, right? And her name is Mimi. And at the end of the opera, I'm crying, boo-hooing. Now, I've seen this opera a million times, so I don't know why it was affecting me in that way. So I said, Lord, something needs to happen because, I don't know what. So I joined the gym. And I started out working with this Italian trainer. And this was in 2009, in January of 2009. I went from a girl who barely looked at herself in the mirror in 6 months to being like, I think I took the first selfie. I think I took the first selfie.
Let's just go back there.
In 2009, I was taking selfies. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it really wasn't just for the sake of what it looked like. I couldn't believe that I accomplished that I followed a plan and that I believed that it would work. And so I stayed with it. And then over a 6-month period, I saw this transformation. I started to see what I call my essence.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what I believe essence is spirit, but we are physical beings having a spiritual experience. So we are spirit. And so I saw my physical being within the spiritual context of my essence was beginning to reveal itself. Not only did I feel better, my stomach felt better. I didn't have stomach aches as much as I did before. My skin cleared up. People don't believe my age when I tell them now. They just don't believe me. So I'm going to start lying.
Or just let them assume, oh, thank you so much if that's what you think.
That's what I'm doing, because I'm tired of having to explain it,
32 and holding.
Are you holding at 32?
I'm holding at 32. 32 was a wonderful year.
So that's how it happened. And then I met this brother who owns his own gym named Robert Fulton. He's been my trainer for 11 years. And I started competing in 2010. And I just loved the discipline because I thought I was disciplined, but I was not.
Discipline.
I was not. I thought I knew what discipline was, Michelle. I didn't know what discipline was. Like,
so what was the difference? Because break that down for me. Because I think of discipline, but tell me.
When I think about discipline, I think about continuously living in a feeling of discomfort. But for purpose. For purpose, not for mess, right?
Good, for purpose.
So I'm telling you, like, there were times when my flesh was like, I want some sugar. Really, I felt like I was dying to my flesh because there are things that are addictions that we eat, and sugar is one of them, and salt is another. And I literally felt like it was an exorcism, because I would sometimes go out in the middle of the night like, I need some crackers. I need Witter, because I didn't buy the stuff. So I would be up at midnight going to gas stations, like looking for something salty. I was a mess. And when I started to like learn to live in that, I mean, when I tell you, I felt like invincible in my body.
That's powerful.
It's so powerful. It felt like euphoria. It's like it's probably a sort of the smallest degree of what Jesus must have felt like 40 days and 40 nights.
40 days.
Like, imagine that. Nobody is around you, right? You can't eat at 6 o'clock, right? You're not drinking anything, right?
Yeah.
I thought about that sometimes when I was dieting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, if Jesus could do 40 days and 40 nights for a real cause, right? I'm sitting here doing a bodybuilding competition, and I can't even suffer for a week without, and it wasn't like I wasn't eating, I was eating 5 or 6 meals a day. So when I learned to abstain from things that was preventing me from reaching my goal, it doesn't even matter now. People can have pizza around me. My mother can fry chicken. Like, if I don't want it, I won't eat.
Your mama cooks.
My mother cooks. Like the other day, my mother made collard greens and baked chicken and hoe cakes, like the little cornbread cakes. I had the baked chicken and collards, but I didn't have the bread.
Yeah.
Like, most people would never do that. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make a difference. But it may not make an immediate difference, but it will get me thinking like, well, tomorrow I'll have some bread tomorrow. That's discipline. I'll have me some more bread on Thursday. And the next thing you know, 2 weeks in a row, I had that thing that I thought was going to be a one-time deal.
Yeah.
You understand?
So does the discomfort go away?
It does. The discomfort after a while starts to feel like a superpower. It starts to feel like, it's kind of like the confidence I have in God. When Satan try me, I'm like, you really? Do you really? Because I know when I say Jesus, you gonna run. Because it's power in that name, and you scared of that. So I would say Jesus 10 times, and then Satan is like, okay. You know what I mean? Because there's power in that name. And so that's how I felt. Like, I felt like this thing is so powerful that what it is going to do for me in my life, it's going to, first of all, teach me what it's like to set a goal and achieve it. And then, like I'm doing now, I'm doing health and fitness consultations.
Yeah.
So when my clients talk that talk, I'm like, listen, I done been there. I got 3 different t-shirts.
You know what's interesting though? I did a liquid fast. I believe I did 7 days.
Wow.
And so a lot of it is, even with discipline, a lot of it is mental. Because the thing was, even though I was doing all liquids, it was interesting. So I prepped myself for a longer fast. So I went from 6 o'clock one week to liquid to nothing. And it's amazing how much you think about food. And I was like, but I'm not hungry. But my mind was saying, well, at this time you would eat this. At this time you would eat this. So a lot of it is mental. So it really is training your mentality as well, that you don't have to have what your body is craving for. And it really is it's mental, but it's spiritual as well, because you start having these epiphanies like, well, okay, my mouth I just want to chew, but I'm not hungry. So why do I couldn't believe how many times I thought about eating, even when I'm not hungry. Like, I'm just used to putting something in my mouth.
Used to that response and that feeling. And also, let me tell you, when I felt better, well, let me tell you, my spirituality and my connection to God really grew. Build a show, because I have to get my mind ready. I gotta get myself focused. right?
Yes.
And instantly I start praying and meditating more. And instantly I start focusing more. And I'm not doing anything extraneous. I'm not doing anything that is distracting. I'm taking less
That's the
phone
thing.
calls.
It's the distractions. Yeah. Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
get
So
it.
it does go away, Michelle. I mean, it's still there, but what it is you cope better with it, right? It doesn't feel so deafening. After a while, you know it's there, but then you start seeing your body change. You're like,
There you go. You see
oh,
those results and you be like, you go hard. Like,
yeah.
wait a
You're
minute,
like,
okay.
well, my stomach is really gonna give me the six pack, and then you're like, oh, I'm not messing up my work. So you start seeing the results, and then you don't want to go backwards because that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
To take 3 steps to go 6 back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Right. So
reprioritize.
exactly. And then you start to always look fit. I look different levels of fit. When I do my show, I look like that girl, right? When I'm just being Tiffany and eating healthy, I look like this girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that
She's got guns no matter what.
right.
I'm so mad I can't play this video right now because don't worry, I'm gonna put it in my while we wait because she's just singing it and she's not even trying and it's like pop.
Because I started integrating the bodybuilding with the music.
Yeah.
And that's where passion comes in my one woman show. It's mind, body, soul building. So it's not just bodybuilding anymore for me. It's mind, body, and soul building.
Yes.
So I branded that for my clients. So when I talk to them about health and fitness, it's not just about food, but it's about their associations with food. It's about family history. It's about, intergenerational cultural things. And those are the conversations I have. So I know how to deal with them when they reach that stuck point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It infuses into all aspects of your life. I love that.
Yeah. It makes it make sense.
Sure. Forgive me. I just want to get over to the Gift, Passion, and Purpose project because that's the legacy part, or that's what you are injecting into the earth right now. So let's talk about those deposits.
So that's my purpose. My purpose is service to others. So Gift, Passion, Purpose project, or Purpose, the third act of my one woman show, is my nonprofit organization. The mission is to provide resources to kids in underserved communities to be able to afford lessons, applied music lessons. Because I meet kids all the time and their parents can't afford my fee. And it really hurts so desperately because I'm like, these kids are talented, but they don't have the resources. And happenstance should not be the reason why they can't have these resources. So instead of me being mad at the system as I am, and I'll stay that way, I figure I'm going to start my own organization. So I have 7 members on my board, and most of them are musicians. This is a diverse group of people. I also have a mentoring group called the Mentoring Forum for African American Vocal Artists. And these are a group of Black opera singers that I collected and brought together through Facebook. Yeah, we have our own private room. And during my board meeting, I brought up an idea. I made a move or motion to see if we could really create an official liaison between the nonprofit and the mentoring forum. And they were all like, this is fabulous. So it's great. So these kids are donating $25 a month if they can do it. And what we're doing is every 2 weeks, myself and another one of the mentors are bringing in a guest artist, whether it's a conductor or an opera singer or an actor,
Nice.
to talk to the group about whatever topic we choose. But that's the work I'm doing because for me, purpose is legacy.
Yes.
Purpose is legacy. Purpose is mission driven. Purpose for me is God driven. And for me, I've always wanted my love for God to manifest outside of walls. Like, Lord, how do I live for you and through you with my gift, passion, and purpose? How do I do that without feeling like it can only be done within walls, whether it's a school or a church or an organization? How can I do so outside of that? And so the Lord is basically saying, like, use your gift and your passion and your purpose and create something. Hello, you're a creator. So I wrote the One Woman Show. And one of the ways that the Lord has, helped me during this past year is to help me to understand that the work that I've been doing and that I'm doing now is social justice work. That's what it is, really, right? It's work that's going to benefit the common good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have this new platform where I'm doing a lot of public speaking and keynote addresses for social justice in the arts. And I've been researching, all of the different acronyms, honey, EDEI, IDEA, diversity, equity, and inclusion, social justice, the whole alphabet, but for me, it's more than the acronym. It's like, how can I really make that work? Well, I have been all my life, but I didn't know that that's what it was called. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm recasting, retelling, analyzing, and codifying things that I've already been doing, and I have been creating a product. And so I have a couple of talks coming up. My next talk is going to be called Our Stories Are Our Legacies. Nice. That's a keynote that I'm doing for the Connecticut Musicians Educators Association.
Will it be broadcast for those of us like me who are not in Connecticut?
You know what? I will ask and see if they can broadcast it live, because I would actually love that. This is my first keynote address. I've done a lot of public speaking, but keynote is a whole
nother ball game,
another, right? But I will ask, and I'll make sure that that Rashida will get that link to you.
Thank you. Yes, I'll share it with everyone.
Because I've been working on it. And one day my mom was gone, and I was able to just sort of like lay all my stuff out on the table without any disruptions. And I started meditating and praying. And then I started dictating, which I didn't realize that Google Docs has a dictation where you can go in and just start talking, and boom, you have a keynote. So that's how
or a book. I'm just saying.
Really, by dictating.
So yeah, my bestseller book, part of it was dictated to Google Docs.
Wow, Michelle, that is all. I just found that out because I went online like dictation apps, because I'm tired of sitting here because I have these nails. I ain't got time for this keyboard.
But you can talk.
I can talk though. So yeah, so I'll let you know. It's called Our Stories Are Our Legacies. What do we tell ourselves about ourselves?
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
That now that's a whole word right there, right? What do we tell ourselves?
That's a couple words. You can unpack that a couple different ways. That's a couple words.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm doing some DEI work, which is like, I'm like, Lord, that's not what I went to school for. And he was like, well, you've been Black for 49 years.
He knows what he created you for, and he knows the path that you take. And sometimes we get in our own way by not allowing him to be the leader, because we think one thing, but he's like, but I created you for this. This was just the way to get there.
There you go. Absolutely.
And you don't have to have, an accreditation or a million different, degrees to do work. You just do work. You do your own research.
Sure.
Whatever you need to do. And that's what I did with this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a lot of research. I'm reading all kinds of books. Like right now, I'm reading this book called My Grandmother's Hands. It's about how we hold trauma and intergenerational trauma, what they call soul trauma. Oh my goodness. It's called My Grandmother's Hands.
Okay.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, there's so much in that. I come from the trauma field. So yeah. Absolutely.
I'm going to start asking people, what do they read?
Yes, please get that book, sis, because where you're going with your research and with your walk, having that piece. So when people come at you, a lot of times with traumatic responses and trauma triggered responses, you'll recognize, okay, this is a person who is responding in a way that is through their trauma. I'm not going to take that personal. It's not me, right? So I love this book, and it offers healing from 3 different perspectives, right? They call it white body supremacy. So it talks about how white folks hold racial trauma in their bodies. It talks about how Black folks, how we hold our form of racial trauma. And it talks about police officers, Black and white, and how they hold a different type of trauma. Right.
That's interesting.
Well, before we have a thought or before our cognitive selves react, when we feel threatened, our bodies react first. Michelle can tell you this if trauma is her field. Our body,
that default response.
Yes,
fight, flight, or freeze.
Fight, flight, or freeze, or rest.
Yep.
Right. And so when you think about how white people in particular, just this one particular type of white body supremacy, how they have held their trauma, because they had their own trauma in Europe before they came over here, right? Years and years of trauma, intergenerational with war and violence, right? They hold that trauma in their bodies. And when trauma is not resolved, it goes from generation to generation. And intergenerational trauma begins to look like culture.
Wow.
And that's scary.
No, that is.
Until someone stops and says, this is the end of the line.
Exactly. And that's why I said, I'm telling my story myself. What do I tell myself about myself? Well, it's ugly. Come and see my one woman show. Listen to these stories, because I'm not going to tell you a sugar-coated story. And I don't want somebody else to tell my story, because they will do so from a jaded perspective, oftentimes with stereotypes, right, and hidden agendas. So telling our story, I lead with my story, Rashida, because I feel like even though I have all this education, I don't lead with that. Because as a Black woman, for me, it doesn't rest well for me to lead with that. I lead with my story. Now, if somebody get it twisted,
that's when you bring it up. Oh, you don't think I'm loaded? Oh, let me show you what's in my chamber. Because I do. I'm the same way. I never lead with what I'm packing.
Why? Right?
There's no need to.
There's really no need to. But for people who try you, especially for those who will stereotype us based on how we look, then I bring her out.
Yeah.
But that's the only time. But I lead with my story. I lead with, as much as I can, a certain level of authenticity within my teaching. Right. And in my public speaking, as soon as I tell my story, a lot of times, if I'm telling the Black story, which is mine, white people tend to relax a little bit more, because I'm not really talking at them.
Right.
They're just watching me tell my story. And within my story, a lot of people will be able to relate to different aspects from all different backgrounds. So leading with that has been what God has really instructed me to do with this work. Lead with your story, and then the rest will come.
I understand. Love that. I love that.
I understand. And that's really great, because, I can tell neither one of you display yourself as if you have to prove anything, and you can tell when somebody is working to prove, that's when there's I don't know what you call it. You got the terminology for it, but there's another issue that you don't feel good about yourself. So you need to shove your accomplishments down my throat. Why? I already like you.
Right. You
so,
did a good job.
So good stuff. Well, you know what, Tiffany, I am going to, Michelle has introduced me to a friend, and I'm going to ask Michelle as well. I'm putting her on the spot, but I am also, your story needs to be told. So we have a mutual friend, Michelle, Lisa Zarotny.
I was like, which one? We got a couple.
You're right. Absolutely. So anyway, I am going to submit your name and tell them that you would be a great person for them to have on their podcast, because your story is absolutely incredible. I personally know you, and I know that you are a beautiful soul, and you're just doing amazing work, and your story needs to be heard. So this is your time to shine.
I can't get rid of this. You're disrupting the narrative while involving others in your journey, which is connecting while you're disrupting and shifting that narrative for people. But it's in a way where it's not abrasive. And so people can, like you said, they relax because you're telling your story.
It's palatable.
You're still involving them, and then you're disrupting some of the narrative that they're holding that is incorrect. So I think that's powerful. And I think it's a good fit for the Positively Productive podcast.
Absolutely.
So, I will co-sign and echo that one. Yeah.
Thank you
make
so
that
much.
happen.
for putting it in
We
those
will make
words.
that.
Really beautiful. That's exactly it. And I also think that by using smaller iterations of my show, it touches people emotionally. So the last time I did this was for, I work for Choate Rosemary Hall and Loomis Chafee, where I teach private voice lessons. And they asked me to come and to present for their music faculty. And everybody was, it was very, you know, there was a lot of racial homogeneity. Let me just say, it was all white folk in there, right? It was racial homogeneity.
You were the chocolate chip.
That sounds a little better, right? But I said, I'm going to show my one woman show, and that's going to hit them in that space where they probably have never felt. They've never given themselves the permission to feel. So every single time they wax so silent where they don't know what to say. And so I know what's going to happen. I'll get an email maybe like a week or two after the event, because then they're processing what it is that they experienced. And so the Lord has told me, you're going to use your one woman show to break yokes, to get people to feel, to get people who are not accustomed to being less analytical and theoretical, right? Sort of more focused on things that are human, right? That's more emotion driven and more, you know. And so I am grateful for that, because I think that that's the thing that will get people to think about how they have been conditioned, is to sort of crack open that well of emotion where they haven't allowed themselves to feel.
I saw, well, when you were first rolling this out, in that barn in Woodbridge, well, a beautiful barn.
It was the most beautiful barn you've ever seen in your life, right?
On beautiful grounds. I mean, I felt like I had left the United States and gone somewhere, but the grounds were absolutely gorgeous. And in that beautiful barn, I actually sat back and watched the responses. And I mean, people teared up, people cried, you saw tissue, there were so many emotions going on. So it is a very heartfelt, you took us from one place, and then your voice is a whole different story, that, so sometimes you don't know how to react. Sometimes you don't know between the actual story and then your voice is like, okay, this is a little overwhelming, but but we landed in a good spot. You didn't leave us, you didn't leave us down. You lifted us.
Yeah, hit y'all in the head and then make y'all laugh and then sing a song about it.
Absolutely. And then the musicianship that was going on, that musicians were out of this world. So
thank you.
It was really, really good. We got to wrap this up. Like, there's so many different ways we could go, and I'm even seeing another segment on some of the things that you were speaking of. So, Tiffany, I just want to say thank you so very much. Keep shining. I really believe, and I'm understanding that being a star is not just the entertainment that we see. You're doing the real hands-on work and touching lives, and it's absolutely amazing. And your song and your story will be sung way past your lifetime. I'm pretty certain of that, and that's an amazing accomplishment all within itself.
Thank you, love. Thank you for this. Thank you for letting me share your platform and tell my story. It always feels therapeutic for me as well. It really does, because there's so much in there, So be given the platform and the permission to sort of put it out there and regurgitate it. It feels healing. It feels like a healing session for me. So thank you, love you.
I understand. Thank you, love you. I'm so grateful. And I do understand that whole therapeutic piece, because as I was on the podcast with Lisa Michelle, that's one of the things after the podcast recording, I told her, I was like, you just pulled something out of me, So
very cathartic. Very cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, okay, thank you. I'm not even doing a wrap up because this was just absolutely amazing. I will put the YouTube clip that I wanted to share on my While We Wait page. To my viewers, I want to thank you. Please
Before we
like
go,
and
before
share.
we go, I got to
Yes,
interrupt. For
absolutely.
those of us who don't know Dr. Tiffany, where can we find you? Is there a website? Is there where can we
Yeah.
connect with you?
So my website is Necessary Diva at
Ooh.
Gmail, necessarydiva.net. One
Okay.
C, two S's, and necessarydiva@gmail.com if somebody wants to write.
I'm the Necessary Diva.
.net. Yeah. And of
And
course,
then are you on social media like Instagram, LinkedIn?
oh yeah, I'm in
Twitter?
LinkedIn, Dr. Tiffany Renee Jackson on LinkedIn. IG is at Necessary Diva. And on Facebook, I think it's Dr. Tiffany Renee Jackson. But Necessary Diva usually will pop up everything if they do a Google search. Yeah.
I can't unknow you now, so just get ready for some connection requests from me.
It's so nice to meet you, Michelle. You are awesome.
That's only because you're looking back at you. I'm being a mirror right now, and you're just seeing your shine back at you. It has been such a blessing, so much wisdom and encouragement and inspiration from just who you are is just shining through. So I'm just so grateful that I had the pleasure and the honor to be here, because our Patrice, you didn't need me here today at all. It was my blessing and gift to be here in this conversation.
I always need you.
I'm so glad about it. I mean, I always love coming here because it's family, but I'm so blessed, and I'm just so grateful that you kept walking, Dr. Tiffany. You kept walking, kept shining, kept showing up, because there's so many that will benefit from your legacy, and I'm just so encouraged by that.
I received that. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
I concur. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up right here. To every viewer, I want to thank you. Please like the broadcast, share it. It's on YouTube. Please share the YouTube clip with someone, because you never know who will be inspired and encouraged, motivated to do something that will touch humanity. That's what all of this is about. Whitney says, Tip is awesome.
Whitney.
And comment your one takeaway that you're taking from the conversation. I always like to get feedback. What is the takeaway that you got from this conversation? How did Dr. Tiffany, was it something she said, just her essence, just what was it that struck you from this conversation? Because something hit you. Something had to hit you, if not 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
Exactly.
So put it in the comments.
Yes, thank you. Here you go. Michelle is requesting that you put a comment in stating one of your takeaways from this. And we would love that. We like to go back and read, and we like the engagement. So please, whatever your takeaway. If someone had said earlier, this is good, or so they did, and I got so caught up in the conversation. I normally bring the viewers in the conversation. I was fully engaged today. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That was my bad.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I normally say, wait a minute. Whitney says, finding a way to reach the people beyond the walls was a takeaway for her.
Oh, I just got the chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I felt that through my ball, dude.
Yeah. So even the viewers that will watch the replay, please put a comment in of your takeaway of this segment as we honored National Women's History Month. Tiffany is amazing, and I'm going to put this YouTube clip in there on my page because I really wanted to play it. Now it just so fit. But anyway, we'll watch it on my page.
I love
Tiffany,
it.
I celebrate you. I honor you. I honor the work that you're doing for humanity. And my prayer for you is that you will go beyond your humanity into places that you never thought you would go, and that God will cause your shine to reach so much farther than where your physical man can get to. But I also pray that the bounty and the abundance will be reciprocated to you, so you can do even greater work without concern about your own humanity and your own life, but that you will be able to live off of the bounty and the abundance of all. Yvonne Ellison Jones says, hey, Doc Tiffany Renee Jackson. Hey, girl.
Hey. Oh, I received prayer. Thank you.
Yes. Good stuff. I love it. Guys, we got to go from this place. You definitely will be back because we started talking about something else backstage. So I definitely want to bring out Okay, we are not the bricks. Hashtag, we are not
Yeah.
the bricks. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
I'm gonna watch it on YouTube again. I'll share it with my mom. I'll watch it later today so I can
Please do.
what I said because I didn't hear any of it.
Now, one of the things that I didn't say about Tiffany, I didn't do her bio, but in talking about her, is Tiffany loves her mama, which I absolutely think is amazing. They have a wonderful relationship, and her mama is a force to be reckoned with as well. So I love you, mama.
Yes, she's right in there. I can reach out and touch her. Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
Okay, guys. Talk to you real
Love
soon. All right. Remember, be strong, be wise, keep your hands in your life because life is worth living while we wait. Love you guys.
Stay wise. I live I stay strong. I stay wise. I live